A very good evening. You're watching Primetime News on TV1 live and direct from our Newsfirst studios in Colombo. Bringing you the news, I'm Jad Abdin.
And I'm Rochelle Tumoda. Let's start off the look at our headlines for tonight.
Ganemulla Sanjeeva murder suspect Sirasa and others arrested in Nepal brought to the island. 3 arrested over 839 kg haul of narcotics discovered from seas off Tangol. Police Narcotics Bureau gets new chief. Attorney Gunratna Vaninayaka appears in court with Bar Association President. Granted bail on 2 sureties of 500,000 rupees each. Ex-Minister Manusha arrested, gets bail. Heavy rain advisories issued for multiple areas. Continued implementation of reforms could strengthen Sri Lanka's credit profile. Moody's Investor Service says in latest review.
And on to those stories in detail. In your top story this morning, or this evening rather, the chief suspect of the Ganemulla Sanjeeva assassination, Sirasa, and others who were recently arrested in Nepal were brought back to the island this evening. Our reporters confirmed that the suspects returned to the island on board the UL-182 aircraft at around 7 p.m. today.
The aircraft carrying the suspects had departed the Kathmandu airport in Nepal at around 3:30 p.m. Sri Lankan time. The fugitives were arrested during a special joint operation conducted by ASP Rohan Olugala and Police Inspector of the CID, Gihan Chandima, along with Nepali security officials. 2 STF officers had departed to Nepal last evening to assist in repatriating the suspects. Information on Sirasa's whereabouts had been revealed while interrogating a Sri Lankan underworld figure named Kennedy Bastian Pillai, also known as J.K. Bhai, who was arrested in Bhaktapur, Nepal recently. According to the police, the main suspect of the Ganemulla Sanjeeva assassination was in hiding at an apartment complex situated 18 kilometers away from Nepal's capital of Kathmandu. The 4 other suspects were arrested at a different location. 2 suspects who were arrested are residents of Gampaha and Nugegoda, while police also confirmed that a couple who are residents of Jaffna were also arrested. Sanjeeva Kumara Samararatna, alias Ganemulla Sanjeeva, was murdered inside Court Number 5 of the Colombo Magistrates Court on the 19th of February this year. Further investigations revealed that it was Sirasa who had provided the firearm used in the assassination. She had fled alongside the shooter shortly after the assassination. Samindu Dilshan, the alleged assassin, was later nabbed by the authorities later that day. Despite nationwide operations being launched to locate Sirasa, she remained at large until her arrest on the 14th of October. It was later revealed that the suspect had fled to Sri Lanka, assisted by J.K. Bhai.
51 large parcels containing a staggering 856 kilograms of narcotics were discovered while floating in the seas off Tangol. By this afternoon, 3 suspects connected to the incident were arrested by the police special task force. Police stated that the drug consignment is suspected to belong to a leading drug trafficker in the southern province.
Sri Lanka Navy reported that it had observed certain objects floating in the waters near Tangol. Accordingly, a naval craft was deployed to the area where 51 floating parcels were recovered. Police revealed that the narcotics were likely being transported on 4 boats to the Tangol coastline, but due to intensified naval patrols, the traffickers abandoned the parcels at sea. Southern Naval Commander Rear Admiral Kosalavarnakula Surya confirmed that naval patrols along the southern coast had been strengthened in recent days. It has now been uncovered that the boats carrying the drugs evaded surveillance systems and entered Sri Lankan waters. Last night, the Navy brought the 51 parcels to the Tangol Fisheries Harbour. The total weight of the narcotics found inside was 856 kilograms. This included 670 kilograms of crystal methamphetamine, 156 kilograms of heroin and 12 kilograms of hashish.
මේ අපේ ආණ්ඩුව ප්‍රතිපත්තිමය වශයෙන්
Our government is firmly committed to dismantling every drug trafficking network and eradicating this menace from the country. This is a national mission and we have already planned decisive action. We guarantee that this cancer of narcotics will be eliminated as quickly as possible. These parcels were dispatched from Tangol from certain local shops and facilities. The original packs came from overseas but they were repackaged locally. This is not something that happened overnight. It has been going on for years. Just imagine, 51 parcels is an enormous quantity.
වසර ගණනක් තිස්සේ නැත්තම් මේ හිතා ගන්න පුළුවන් ද උර 51ක් කියන්නේ කොච්චර ලොකු ප්‍රමාණයක්ද.
The seized narcotics have been handed over to the Police Narcotics Bureau for further investigation. Senior Superintendent of Police HMCP Herath has been named as the new director of the Police Narcotics Bureau, succeeding SSP Hemal Prashanta, who has been transferred to the Police Field Force headquarters. SSP Herath previously served as the officer in charge of the Colombo South Division. In a related development, SSP KGPB Samrapala, who was attached to the National Police Training Institute, has been appointed as the in charge of the Theldenia Division.
Newsfirst with the people.
Newsfirst, main sponsor.
A trusted place for your fixed deposits. Valuable FD 10.25% for 15 months, 11% for 24 months. Valuable FD, the symbol of stability.
Case file.
Colombo Magistrate Asanka S. Bodragama today ordered the release of former Minister Manusha Nanakkara on bail following his arrest by the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption.
Former Minister of Labour and Foreign Employment Manusha Nanakkara was taken into custody today by the Commission to investigate allegations of bribery or corruption in connection with an ongoing probe into alleged irregularities in sending Sri Lankan workers for agricultural jobs in Israel. He was taken into custody when he arrived at the Commission to provide a statement in related to the probe. Later this evening, the former minister was presented before Colombo Magistrate Asanga S. Bodragama. During the hearing, the magistrate ordered his release on a cash bail of 100,000 rupees and two sureties of 4 million rupees each. Additionally, a travel ban was also imposed on the suspect. While delivering the bail order, the magistrate noted that a previous anticipatory bail request submitted by Nanakkara had been rejected by the court. However, the magistrate acknowledged that the suspect had voluntarily appeared before the bribery commission today and cooperated by providing a statement. The magistrate added that under these circumstances, the risk of the suspect fleeing the court's jurisdiction appeared to be minimal. Therefore, taking into account the submissions made by both the prosecution and the defence, the magistrate issued the bail order and scheduled the next hearing for the 10th of December.
The Colombo High Court scheduled preliminary hearings in the high-profile case filed under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act against Yoshitha Rajapaksa, son of former President Mahinda Rajapaksa, and his grandmother Daisy Forrest. The pre-trial conference is scheduled for the 12th of November. The matter was taken up before the High Court Judge Udesh Ranatunga.
During Wednesday's proceedings, the prosecution handed over several documents to the defence. President's counsel Sampath Mendes, appearing for the accused, informed the court that additional documents relevant to the case are contained in a file linked to another case pending before the Kaduvela Magistrates Court. He requested time to examine those records. Deputy Solicitor General Janaka Bandara, representing the Attorney General's Department, sought a date for document review and requested that the court fix a date to commence the pre-trial conference. After considering submissions, the judge ordered the case to be called on the 6th of November for document inspection and scheduled the pre-trial conference for the 12th of November. The Attorney General filed the indictment alleging that the accused committed offences under the Prevention of Money Laundering Act by unlawfully acquiring assets and property valued at nearly 73 million rupees. Former commander of the Sri Lanka Navy, Nishant Ulugetana, was released on bail today after producing before the Polgahapet Magistrates Court as per an order issued by the Kurunegala High Court. Ulugetana was remanded in custody in connection with investigations into the abduction and murder of a person in Potuhera in 2010.
Global rating agency Moody's Investors Service has completed its periodic review of Sri Lanka's credit profile, reaffirming the country's CAA1 foreign currency long-term issuer rating and maintaining a stable outlook. Sri Lanka's CAA1 rating with a stable outlook means the country remains in a very high-risk credit category, signaling weak debt affordability and heavy reliance on external financing. To move to a better position like B3, Sri Lanka must strengthen fiscal discipline, broaden its revenue base, boost reserves and accelerate structural reforms to improve investor confidence. The periodic review of Sri Lanka's credit profile conducted on the 2nd October did not result in a rating action but assessed the appropriateness of the current rating against recent economic and fiscal developments. Moody's noted that Sri Lanka's ratings reflect weak debt affordability and a high debt burden which continue to limit fiscal flexibility and the government's ability to absorb shocks or address social and climate-related challenges. While external vulnerability and liquidity risks have eased following the 2022 April debt restructuring and improved foreign exchange reserves, the economy remains heavily reliant on external financing. Fiscal consolidation efforts remain on track with government revenues up to 26.5% year-on-year in the first 7 months of 2025, driven by vehicle import duties and robust tax collections. The stable outlook reflects balanced risks at the current rating level. On the upside, continued implementation of reforms may strengthen its credit profile beyond current expectations to a level consistent with a high rating.
The International Monetary Fund has commended Sri Lanka's progress following its debt restructuring, noting that the country is on a path toward growth and restoring investor confidence. Speaking at a briefing on global financial stability, Tobias Adrian, director of the IMF's Monetary and Capital Markets Department, highlighted improving market conditions for frontier economies.
Sri Lanka has been emerging from a debt restructuring and is on the path to growth and to restoring confidence. When we look at global markets relative to frontier economies, so those are low-income countries with market access, we do see that financial conditions are fairly easy, so there is liquidity. Countries can access markets, and indeed we have seen quite a bit of issuance this year that is in line with historical standards.
Thank you. Maybe I can just compliment by saying that Sri Lanka's economic performance has improved, so it's good to see. On your question on frontier in general, the softer dollar has lessened external pressure, but now is not the time to be complacent at the same time. So frontier economies need to continue to improve economic fundamentals. That includes both on the current account as well as fiscal buffers rebuilding, as our WEO colleagues have mentioned in the previous session. Importantly, in the GFSR, we also have the chapter this time about strengthening bond market structure so that frontier economies can obtain financing through domestic means rather than over-relying on external funding. And these include improving institutions' quality, improve the predictability of issuance, and further develop debt markets in ways that will be conducive to channel domestic savings towards governmental use. So overall, I think we acknowledge the resilience that frontier economies and emerging markets have demonstrated through this period. Obviously, there's more work to be done as well.
The Group of 24 has urged sweeping reforms to the global sovereign debt architecture to help member states secure debt sustainability and return to a positive growth trajectory. Responding to a question from Newsfirst Zulfiq Farzan during an online session, officials emphasized that credibility, fiscal discipline and the inclusive restructuring frameworks are key to addressing mounting debt burdens.
I have an online question from Mr. Zulfiq Farzan, Newsfirst, Sri Lanka, which is related to your question. His question is, what measure is the G24 proposing towards member states securing debt sustainability and positive growth trajectory? So it's related to debt restructuring. If Mr. Chair and then Ayaba would like to come in later. Thank you.
I think when you're talking about debt burdens that the world as a whole is having, and it impacts emerging market economies more significantly, because the first thing that happens in emerging markets is that access to credit is significantly reduced or eliminated. The answer to that, the answer to being able to regain debt sustainability goes hand in hand with credibility. Goes hand in hand with credibility on your policies, because at the end of the day, rising debt levels are just a result of rising fiscal disequilibrium. So the first thing to attack is your fiscal situation, because from there on you will be able to have the resources to have a better position to refinance or restructure the debt of the different countries that face those burdens. In Argentina, we have tried to regain that credibility and regain market access, always within the framework, the legal framework that is available to us. And as such, we are making big strides in building that credibility, and by our actions in terms of having our fiscal discipline and monetary discipline, having growth and investment in the country is going to alleviate as well the debt burdens that our country and some other countries face as well.
Ms. Marsh.
I think when we talk about reform of this sovereign debt architecture, we're really looking at the type of sovereign debt resolution that we have now, the common framework. The common framework is really at best some kind of restructuring with a little bit of haircut. So what we call for when we talk about a comprehensive sovereign debt restructuring framework is a framework that includes not only bilateral creditors, a few bilateral creditors, but that also includes the private sector. The private sector is currently not included, and that also goes with the debt to international financial institutions like the IMF and the World Bank. So, but when we look at the kind of debt resolution that we had at the turn of the century, the HIPIC, the MDRI, those had, they went much more further than what we currently have. So that's the point we make when we say that we want reform of the sovereign debt architecture. The other issue is also about how does the debt architecture cover countries that are just illiquid, but they're still solvent. They can pay their debt, but at a particular time, maybe there's an exogenous shock, and so they cannot meet their obligations now. So the point is, what kind of facilities can we have that is market-based, that those kind of countries can quickly rely upon? And we've seen example of how those kinds of facility work, even in the past 1 or 2 weeks with Argentina.
The International Monetary Fund has sounded a cautionary note on the global economy, drawing parallels between today's artificial intelligence, investment surge and the dot-com boom of the late 1990s. Director of the IMF's research department said the current wave of tech enthusiasm is reminiscent of the internet-driven frenzy 2 decades ago.
There are echoes in the current tech investment surge of the dot-com boom of the late 1990s. It was the internet then, it is AI now. We're seeing surging valuations, booming investment, and strong consumption on the back of solid capital gains. The risk is that with stronger investment and consumption, a tighter monetary policy will be needed to contain price pressures. This is what happened in the late 1990s. There is also the flip side of the boom. Markets could reprice sharply. This would reduce wealth, consumption, and investment, lower activity, and could spill over to broader financial conditions. There are continued concerns about China's growth model. The bubble in the property sector remains a source of weakness. Third, in too many countries, insufficient progress has been made to rebuild fiscal space. Fourth, as fiscal constraints become more binding, we are seeing rising pressures on central banks. While these risks are serious, all is not gloomy. A few important developments could quickly brighten the outlook. First and foremost, resolving policy uncertainty with clearer bilateral and multilateral trade agreements and lower tariffs can help boost output in the near term. Second, AI has the potential to increase productivity. Many of us are already using it, and we can attest to its benefits. Improved domestic policies will also go a long way to help improve resilience, reduce macroeconomic risks, and help resolve global imbalances. Restoring fiscal space where needed, improving the efficiency of public spending, ensuring independent, transparent, and tailored monetary policy, and above all, adopting government policies that invest in the future and empower private entrepreneurs to innovate and thrive.
Mount Lavinia Magistrate Pasan Amarasekara today ordered the release of the suspect, attorney Gunaratna Vaninayaka, on 2 surety bails of 500,000 rupees each in connection with the incident involving the obstruction of police officers' duty at the Mount Lavinia Magistrate Court premises. The magistrate ordered the suspect to appear before the Crime Division of the Western Province South Range tomorrow at 9 a.m. and provide a statement to the Division OIC.
Police has submitted details to the Mount Lavinia Magistrate Court regarding multiple charges, including the obstruction of a police officer's duties against Attorney-at-Law Gunaratna Vaninayaka following an incident that took place at the court premises last Friday. Vaninayaka filed a writ petition with the Court of Appeal, which was taken up earlier today by the Court of Appeal bench, consisting of President of Court of Appeal Justice Rohanta Besurya and Justice Priyantha Fernando. President's counsel Faiz Mustafa, appearing on behalf of Vaninayaka, informed the court that his client was prepared to appear before the Mount Lavinia Magistrate Court tomorrow. Lawyers representing both the Attorney General and the Bar Association of Sri Lanka also presented facts during the proceedings. After considering the facts presented, Justice Rohanta Besurya noted that the court does not have the authority to issue directives on whether an individual should be arrested or not after considering the submissions presented. Court.
A video related to the incident is being circulated. This is a regrettable situation. It is critical to maintain discipline to protect the honor of the legal profession. Without discipline, the respect for this profession will deteriorate. This behavior cannot be accepted. Certainly, there is a large community of young lawyers, and if this kind of conduct continues, it could lead to dangerous consequences. The court does not have the authority to issue orders on arrest or release in an ongoing investigation. Such decisions should be made by the investigating officers.
End quote. President of Court of Appeal Justice Abesurya emphasized that it would be appropriate for the lawyer to appear in court. Court.
Issuing interim restraining orders like this could set a bad precedent. That is improper. Kehel Badra Padme has also filed a petition before this court. Therefore, it is appropriate for the petitioner attorney-at-law to appear before the magistrate's court and clarify this matter.
End quote. The petition will be called up again tomorrow at 10 a.m. Attorney-at-Law Gunaratna Vaninayaka appeared before the Mount Lavinia Magistrates Court. He arrived in court with the President of the Bar Association of Sri Lanka, Attorney-at-Law Rajiv Amarasurya. Appearing for the suspect attorney-at-law, President's counsel Upul Jayasuriya emphasized that a police officer had assaulted an attorney-at-law. Court.
Your Honour, this is not the first time in the history of Sri Lanka where police officers assaulted lawyers, but this incident escalated into a serious situation. While 95% of police officers are honourable, this incident involves a small group of officers acting in an inappropriate manner. The assault occurred when attorney Gunaratna Vaninayaka and his junior lawyer Sanjeeva Anthony were leaving the court in their vehicle after concluding their case. His junior Sanjeeva Anthony is the individual who was assaulted. There was an exchange of words following the assault. This attack has caused significant damage to the dignity of our profession.
End quote. President's counsel Jayasuriya made a clarification in response to the charges against attorney Vaninayaka. Court.
Section 287 of the Penal Code refers to the singing of obscene songs. This lawyer did not sing any songs at the time. Furthermore, Your Honour, while there are serious underworld gangs that need to be apprehended, they deployed 3 or 4 police teams to arrest him. This is a misuse of police officers' official powers. This is not a conflict between the police and lawyers. This is an issue concerning the dignity of our profession. We had already informed that Attorney-at-Law Gunaratna Vaninayaka would appear before court on the next hearing date. Despite that, the police went to his house without a search warrant. 2 special police teams were checking vehicles at 2 locations along Gall Road, which is uncharacteristic. Those checks were to arrest Gunaratna Vandinayaka. State officers should not act in this manner. There was a likelihood that Gunaratna Vandinayaka could be assaulted or arrested. That is why he appeared in court today along with the president of the Bar Association and a group of lawyers.
End quote. Attorney at law Rajiv Amrasoria, who appeared on behalf of the Bar Association, made a request to consider the suspect's bail application. Court.
Both the police and lawyers belong in the same system. Your Honour, this situation has arisen within this system. This system was severely damaged through this incident. This has escalated unnecessarily. That should not happen. Your Honour, this is an internal problem. Therefore, this should be resolved.
End quote. Attorney at law Dimuthu Pradeep Jaisingha, appearing on behalf of the police legal division, objected to granting bail to the suspect Gunaratna Vandinayaka. Court.
As the counsels mentioned, this is not a conflict between the police and the lawyers. On the day of the incident, the police officers acted with great restraint. That day, we did not have the opportunity to arrest this lawyer. A fair investigation was carried out and the facts were carefully considered before a B report was submitted to court today. This suspect, the lawyer, did not support the investigation. The day after the incident, he was asked to appear before the police and provide a statement. He did not come. Later, when we went to his place of residence to look for him, he was not there either.
End quote. After considering the facts presented, Mount Lavinia Magistrate Pasan Amrasekhara granted bail to Attorney at Law Gunaratna Vandinayaka on two sureties of 500,000 rupees each. The magistrate also stated that if it is revealed that any attempt has been made to influence the witnesses, steps will be taken to cancel the bail.
The US travel advisory for Sri Lanka remains unchanged despite misleading reports suggesting new risks. The Sri Lanka Tourism Alliance clarified that the only update is a global requirement to mention landmine alerts, which does not indicate any increased danger for travellers.
The US Department of State recently updated its travel advisory for Sri Lanka. There has been no change in the advisory level, which remains at level 2, which is exercise increased caution. Sri Lanka Tourism Alliance in a statement said that unfortunately some have misrepresented the advisory by highlighting cautionary elements that have been in the advisory for several years and have not been newly added. The only new addition is the mandatory reference to any landmine risk areas, which is referring to potential landmines in an area of 23 square kilometers of uncleared demarcated jungle areas in northern Sri Lanka. There is a new requirement about landmine alerts that now applies to all US travel advisories worldwide, and this does not reflect any new or increased risk in Sri Lanka. Many other popular destinations, including Mexico, the United Kingdom, Italy, France, Spain, the Dominican Republic, India, the Maldives, the Philippines, Indonesia, Morocco, Egypt and Turkey, are also listed at level 2. Sri Lanka continues to be a safe and welcoming destination for travellers from around the world. Visitors can continue to enjoy Sri Lanka's rich culture, natural beauty and warm hospitality with confidence.
As you all know, Sri Lanka is the country that is the safest country in the world for tourism. In fact, last month we had some agencies, overseas agencies saying that to travel to Sri Lanka because it is so safe. And we depend so much on tourism, and the new good governance has done a lot of changes to the industry, but it will take time for it to get it fully cleared on the tourism side because of all the 15 years has nothing much happened in the tourist board. So things are happening, but we have to give time. The global promotion is taking time because for 15 years we didn't do a global promotion. Also, as we all know, for us to get out of this economic situation, one of the main source of income is tourism, and I'm 100% sure it will help the country to get over this economic situation which they are in now. But as we say, this kind of warnings will have an impact to the industry, not in Sri Lanka, but around the world. So we have to act fast and say that this has nothing to do and these things never happen in Sri Lanka. As I mentioned earlier, we are the safest country in the world at the moment. And that is 100%. We can welcome everybody and ask anybody to come, and we guarantee that Sri Lanka is very safe at the moment and we have nothing to worry.
Sri Lankan Prime Minister Harinyamarasuriya Surya said that the Global Leaders Meeting on Women holds both practical value and far-reaching significance, demonstrating China's global leadership in protecting women's rights and promoting gender equality. Amrosuri, who was in Beijing for the Global Summit of Women, which took place from Monday to Tuesday, made the remarks in an interview with the China media group.
So it's very important that we take stock and also that we pledge to further the cause. And it was very important that the leaders gathered and that China's pledged its leadership and China committed itself to promoting and enhancing gender equality. President Xi was very sincere in what he said and very strong in his commitments. So I think that's very useful and very significant at this moment. I think his commitment to furthering gender equality and as a male leader speaking on these issues becomes even more significant and it sends a very clear and strong message to the rest of the world. Then it was not just rhetoric, he also made very concrete proposals and also pledged China's financing of those important initiatives, which is also very critical, especially for agencies like UN Women, which has seen some other countries withdraw funding from those initiatives. So it was very important that he made that pledge publicly and in such an important forum. So I felt very privileged to have been there and to have been part of that moment. And I think in many ways socialist ideology has always stood for women's rights and for gender equality. This is something that is very much a part of socialist thinking and Marxist thinking. So in a way socialist countries progressed a lot further than many other countries when it came to protecting and promoting women's rights and gender equality. So in that sense, I think those sayings are very well known in the rest of the world. Certainly in Sri Lanka, we know of this and we subscribe to this position quite strongly.
Chinese energy giant Sinopec has pledged to expedite the launch of the long-delayed Hambantota oil refinery project. This is following high-level discussions with the Minister of Foreign Affairs, Foreign Employment and Tourism, Vijitha Herup, in Colombo today.
A delegation led by Sinopec Vice Chairman Liu Liangong, comprising 10 senior officials, met the minister to review progress on the $3.7 billion investment and address outstanding issues that have stalled the project for years. The refinery, designed to produce up to 200,000 barrels per day, is expected to be one of the largest energy infrastructure projects in Sri Lanka. Liu expressed appreciation for the minister's support in resolving major hurdles, noting that the project agreement was successfully signed in January this year after prolonged negotiations. He also raised several remaining concerns impacting the commencement of construction and requested swift intervention to clear them, stressing the strategic importance of the project for both nations. Minister Herup assured full cooperation to resolve pending matters without delay, citing the positive impact of foreign investments on Sri Lanka's economy. Both parties agreed to begin work immediately. The Sinopec delegation is also scheduled to hold bilateral discussions with the Ministry of Power and Energy, the Board of Investment and other relevant agencies to finalize operational details.
According to the Department of Meteorology, rainfall over the island is expected to intensify over the next few days. Officials stated that the intertropical convergence zone and prevailing atmospheric turbulences are the cause behind this weather pattern. The weather forecast warns that heavy rains exceeding 100 millimeters may occur in parts of the western, Sabaragamo, southern, central, over and northwestern provinces. Heavy rainfall may also be accompanied by strong winds. Therefore, the Department of Meteorology advises the public to remain vigilant to reduce the risk from strong winds and lightning.
Newsfirst, main sponsor.
A trusted place for your fixed deposits. Valuable FD, 10.25% for 15 months, 11% for 24 months. Valuable FD, the symbol of stability.
The United National Party announced its firm stance in support of bringing all political parties onto a common platform to safeguard the multi-party democratic system. Issuing a statement, the party said that it agrees to participate in discussions held under the leadership of the opposition leader at the office of the opposition leader and is also willing to appoint a committee for further dialogue between the two parties. The UNP further emphasized the importance of engaging in discussions with other political parties as well. On to more news. An elite military unit says it has seized power in Madagascar from President following weeks of youth-led protests in the Indian Ocean island.
Madagascar's parliament voted to impeach embattled President Andry Rajoelina just hours after he confirmed he had fled the country in the wake of an elite army unit appearing to turn against him and seize power following weeks of deadly Gen Z protests. The vote last afternoon came as Rajoelina moved to dissolve parliament via a decree posted on social media earlier in the day, but which the opposition rejected. The protests, which initially erupted over power and water shortages, have evolved into the most serious crisis the country and Rajoelina's government has faced in years. Standing outside the presidential palace yesterday, CAPSAT Chief Colonel Michael Randrianirina said the military would form a government and hold elections within 2 years. He also suspended key democratic institutions like the Electoral Commission. He added that Gen Z protesters will be part of the changes because, quote, the movement was created in the streets, so we have to respect their demands, end quote. Troops and protesters have been celebrating the apparent ousting of President Rajoelina with thousands waving flags in the capital. CAPSAT, or the Personnel, Administration and Technical and Administrative Services Corps, is the most powerful military unit in Madagascar. The unit supported Rajoelina when he came into power in 2009, but joined the protesters on Saturday.
A fight that took place last night at a garment factory in Bangladesh and an adjacent chemical warehouse has killed at least 16 people and injured many others.
At least 16 people have died after a huge fire broke out at a garment factory in Bangladesh, with officials warning that the toll could rise. The Fire Services Department said that 16 bodies have been recovered but were burned beyond recognition. Distraught relatives gathered outside the 4-story factory in Dhaka's Mirpur area yesterday in search of their loved ones still missing. Authorities confirmed that the blaze, which broke out at the factory around midday, was extinguished after 3 hours. But an adjacent chemical warehouse continued to burn. Fire service officials have not ascertained which of the 2 buildings caught fire first. According to eyewitnesses, the chemical warehouse stored bleaching powder, plastic and hydrogen peroxide, all of which can intensify fires. Police and military officers are still trying to locate the owners of the factory and the warehouse. An investigation on whether the warehouse was operating legally is also ongoing.
Coming back to some local news, once more the UNP earlier today issued a statement announcing its firm stance to support bringing all political parties onto a common platform to safeguard the multi-party democratic system. Let's take a look at some views now.
What is the opposition leader's stance on the proposed alliance?
We are ready to work together under the leadership of the Samagi Janabalawegya with a firm commitment to progressive policies and a focus on resolving the real issues faced by the people. However, we will do so while preserving the unique identity of each political party involved. This alliance is not driven by opportunistic political ambitions, but by a shared goal of finding genuine solutions to the problems faced by the public.
Isn't the SLPP included in the alliance?
We will make a decision regarding the elections once they are officially announced. A decision on how we will contest will be made after considering the opinions of our party faithful and public opinion. Our aim isn't to wipe everyone out and establish provincial councils, local governments or a central government. We plan to establish a political force that is suitable for the country. We are ready to form any alliance for that. The 2025 ICC Women's Cricket World Cup clash between England and Pakistan is currently underway at the R. Premadasa Stadium in Colombo. Invited to bat first, England were at 79 runs for the loss of 7 wickets before the match was interrupted by rain early on. Now chasing a target, Pakistan women are currently on 34 runs for the loss of no wickets at the end of 6.4 overs before the match was interrupted by rain once again.
Pakistan, having won the toss, opted to bowl first. England opened the innings with Amy Jones and Tammy Beaumont, with the pair only being able to stitch up an opening partnership of 13 runs. Amy Jones was dismissed for 8 runs off 8 deliveries. England skipper Nat Skyver Brunt was dismissed cheaply for 4 runs. Experienced campaigner Heather Knight was dismissed for 18 runs off 17 deliveries. The English batting lineup struggled, losing 6 wickets for just 57 runs. The match was interrupted by rain in the 25th over, but resumed thereafter. Charlie Dean played a key role in the England innings, scoring a crucial 33 runs to steer her team to 133 runs. All matches of the 2025 ICC Women's Cricket World Cup are being broadcast live on TV1, the official local broadcast rights holder of the tournament. Encounters can also be streamed online via www.sirasatv.lk.
We leave you tonight with a journey to the spring of flowers in the hill country, a scene of divine beauty that captures the hearts of every traveller. This is beautiful Sri Lanka.
And that's a wrap of your news for tonight.
Thank you for watching.
Good night.
The tea country in the central hills of Sri Lanka has taken on a new charm these days. It's the season when the Jacaranda and Maimara, also known as Telonyx regia, burst into bloom, painting the hills with shades of gold and crimson. Among the emerald green tea bushes, these vibrant blossoms bring an enchanting beauty to the estates. From Norelia to Dimbula, over to Sabaragamuwa, amid the endless rows of neatly trimmed tea, golden and scarlet petals sway, captivating even the hearts of the hard-working estate laborers. These majestic trees that shelter the tea plantations are the silent guardians of this wonderland. They bring countless blessings, from supporting biodiversity and natural pest control to creating scenic splendor that draws travelers from around the world while uplifting the spirit of those who tend the fields. Together, they tell the story of the unique identity and flavor of Ceylon tea, a perfect harmony between nature and hospitality. Come experience this enchanting Sri Lanka.
Beautiful Sri Lanka.